Hello, folks. This is Edward, and I am on Spirit Juice No Additive. I changed the name of the channel. I felt like I needed to do something that I felt was my purpose and I had passion for. I'm more articulated when I'm talking about spirituality. I went to school for seminary for 3 years. I dropped out. God said, I didn't tell you to do that. Okay. Uh, and I went to two different seminaries. I was called in 2001. I accepted my calling in 2013. I went to seminary in 2015. I left seminary in 2019, April. So I'm gonna be talking about that experience. I'm gonna be talking about spirituality. Um, I'm gonna be talking about the Holy Spirit, which I encountered at the age of 13. So look for that. I just wanted to get God's name more relevant in people's mouth today, as you can as you may see in today's society, people don't want to talk about God, don't want to talk about gospel, don't want to talk about Jesus and talk about religion. You know, it's a touchy subject, it's an uncomfortable subject. People just don't want to talk about it. Churches are emptying out. People are leaving seminary or going to seminary for chaplaincy in opposed to leading a congregation. We got pastors that's actually closing churches, you know, and leaving uh, being a preacher because of people are not interested. They said in the last days, people are not going to want to listen to sound doctrine. You know, they figure like they heard it all. And so many people are mad at God. And I want to address that on my very first um, vlog, spiritual, spirit juice, no additives. I want to talk about being mad at God, and why that's totally off the map, totally left field. If you have any concept of spirituality in the gospel, then you know why it's not suitable to blame God for the evil that's in this world. So we're going to talk about that more in depth. But today we're going to talk about that's spirit juice no additive, and that's going to be the purpose and objective of this channel is to make God's name more relevant, do it genuinely, sincerely, and also, just transparent. So stay tuned for that. Also, today I want to just deviate off the path, but not so much. I want to talk about Tim Norman case, mainly because Tim Norman is not the exception. This happened with a lot of people that have handicaps or things that of body shaming, bullying, people, sexuality, conflict, weight gain, people that struggle with issues, and we all do. But how you receive it, how you embrace it, and how you let it go depicts whether or not you let evil into your heart. When you let hate marinate in your heart too long, then it opens the door. It becomes a portal for evil. And I think Tim has been cheesed all his life. And the only glory that he got is from being a bully. The only acknowledgement is to scare people into not talking about him. Okay, that and inflicting violence on people because of how he feels about himself and about how other people view him. So he was sort of on the outside looking in because he knew how people felt about him, truly, without him being a bully, you know. So that just made it more convenient and more determined, and was that extra motivation to be a bully. So he's been a bully all his life. So I wanted to weigh in on this whole Tim Norman thing because I think spiritually it's a sign of the times. In the last days, the Bible says that mother going to be against daughter, daughter going to be against mother, son going to be against father, and nobody's going to be safe. People are going to lose compassion, for one another. The love is going to be strayed. You know, yeah, lovers of themselves. That's what the Bible said. People are going to not want to listen to sound doctrine. They somebody said, I was watching YouTube the other day. Somebody said in the comments, they was like, "What's right, what's evil is right, and what's right becomes evil in today's time." You know, people are, it's just so strange. It's like the Twilight Zone. It's like, do you honestly think that's right? You know, back in the days, the kids nowadays are just traumatized beyond relief. And it comes across as evil and have no compassion, no love. This is our future generation. Okay, and I'm scared. I'm very scared. These people would rather kill you, okay, than have a conversation with you. Ain't nobody fighting nowadays. They are killing. Women are being killed in droves. A sign of the times, people. And we're going to talk more about that with Spirit Juice No Additive. But this whole thing with Tim, Vale, the randomness of Vale. He's a vlogger out of West Side Chicago. He's on YouTube. Guys, he reported today he's in St. Louis, you know, from Chicago, and he's going to be covering a trial that should last a little over a week and a half. So next Friday, they anticipate having this kind of wrapped up. They got 40-something witnesses. So I'd be interested in how they're going to get through all this time in a timely fashion, you know, ending next week on Friday. But he's going to be down there covering, so y'all need to get over there and watch. And I'll probably just, you know, add my opinion about what he's covering. But here we are. Tim is guilty. Okay, that is obvious. The trial is going textbook. It's textbook. It's going according to the way it's supposed to go. Anybody that know courtroom, how it operates in the courtroom. Oh my goodness, I got a moth that just came in here. It's a big one. Not a moth, but I don't know what it is, but I'll get it when I get off of here. As long as he don't come over here. But anyway, it's going according to plan. You know, Tim is putting everybody else on trial, trying to divert all the attention on him. From what Vale said, Tim is trying to say that Mr. Hill did this on his own, and who believes that? One thing that I absolutely wanted to get out today. That's why I got back online, and it's like, what? Let's see, 11:31. Is the fact that he was on site. This is how much he hated Andre. And I use that word. I don't hate anybody. I hate to use that word hate. But he hated Andre. And you could tell by how he interacted with him on the show, you know. And before all this even manifested, Miss Robbie House being robbed, the whole plan and murder of Andre, there was an interaction of intimidation, Tim against Andre. Tim was afraid of Andre. Andre was afraid of Tim. Sorry about that. But you can tell in that interaction he really didn't care so much about Andre. I don't know if it's because of the relationship he had with his mother, but I thought, and I now am convinced, that Andre seen something, because in the Texas that I read last week, and they were going over the Texas that between Miss Robbie and Andre in regards to this robbery and him coming back to take the polygraph. And she was accusing him because if you wasn't guilty, then you would be back here in St. Louis taking that test. He took the test and it was inconclusive because he, you know, was doing marijuana or whatever. That can throw off the polygraph results. So he was going to come back. But he said, I'm scared that I know what Tim is capable of. I know what Tim is capable of. Tells me he done seen something, he done heard something, or something has been done to him. And knowing Tim, he's done him, Andre, up more times than not, and letting him know who and what he is. He went to jail for armed robbery. So that tells me that he'll go to any length to get what he wants, including robbing his mom. Now, why now? Why then? Why in 2016 did he choose that time to murder Andre? It's because Andre was coming back to take that test. So if Andre's not guilty, and she know it's somebody from the inside that had access and knew what was in there, everybody's going to start looking at Tim. Tim was trying to put it on Andre. And I'm looking for him, tell me where he at, and this and that and this and that, and got these people looking for him. He said people were looking for him. He said, Tim wants to do something to me. I don't want to get killed over something I didn't do, you know. And Miss Robbie wasn't trying to hear none of that. And she got the nerve to try to sue another vlogger. I don't know how to pronounce it. Y'all tell me in the comments. But anyway, vlogger, Philly Phil, I think it's her name, trying to sue her because of defamation, because she said that she had something to do with it. I think she didn't have anything to do with it, but she did nothing to stop it. This boy told you he was scared. You know your son by now. These things are coming in here. But anyway, she know her kid. I know my kid. My kid is 22 years old. He's, I got a son. I know when he lying. I know what he's capable of. And I'm going to be the first one to stand up and say, hey, you wrong. Okay, I'm not going to condone that. I love you. I will help you out as best I can. But in no way am I going to let you get away with it. Okay, or shield you from the consequences. Miss Robbie ain't saying that. She want him to get off. That says a lot about how she felt about her grandson. I'm like, it just doesn't look right. My mom raised the four of us. I have two brothers and a sister, to never stand up for someone when they're wrong. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's me. Don't stand up for somebody, because you're going to look stupid and you're going to look evil and you're going to reap the same consequences that person does. You're going to be pulled into that. You're going to be, judged by that, by somebody else's actions. If it doesn't make sense and you have any inkling that they did it, shut your mouth and stay out of it. But in no way make them think it's right. Okay, so if you know that they did it, why try to cover for them? That's just ignorant. That's people that don't have a backbone, people that follow other people, and that's the majority of society nowadays. Everybody, doing what everybody else is doing to try to make money, to get stuff, materialistic things. That's another thing we're going to be covering on here is God said in the last day, people are going to be lovers of themselves. Everybody want to be a star. Everybody got talent. It's singing, rapping, dancing, vlogging. Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody wants to get a bag. My purpose is more so to get God's name more relevant in people's mouth and to just tell it like it is as far as what I feel in my theology, what God has gave me, not leaning to my own understanding, but how the Holy Spirit pours out on me the information, pours into me and out of me the information that is pertinent for change, positive change in this day and time. Because people are in a time that we most need with the whole COVID thing and the ozone and, all of that. We need God. But people are falling asleep. That's what's happening. Falling to the sleep, becoming hopeless, and forgetting who is Lord. None of this is a concern for a Christian. We see what's going on around us, but it doesn't touch us. It has nothing to do with us. So I want to get more into that, and I want to be an evangelist and try to get people, win souls for Christ and explain why, God has no place in all of this. So anyway, But Tim, they say he's gotten frail. He had a blue suit on, dark blue suit with a black turtleneck. He had part of his hair was in afro, the other part was in dreads. His face was very gaunt, sinking in. He just looked like he's in his low 220s as far as weight, compared to how big he was. It looks like he's aging. Vale said that he looks like, although he's 41, he looks like he's 50, So he's aged almost 10 years since he's been in there. They were saying that the Griggs sat over by the wall, the Montgomerys in the middle, and it has divided the family, I don't know how close the Montgomerys and the Griggs were before all this happened, but they definitely not close now. So he said that some of the family, was there on both sides. And he said that it's not going to be televised. There will be no coverage of this trial, of course, because it ain't got nothing to do with white folks. But I'm just saying, it would be covered if there was some white folks in it. We all know that. So I ain't got to go into that. But anyway, what else did he say that was interesting? I talked about how he was on site. Tim was on site because the reason I know that he was on site is because of the text message he sent Terica, or whatever her name is. He also said that they were calling her a prostitute. They addressed her as the exotic dancer and prostitute on both the prosecution and defense side. This girl has no name in the court. She's a prostitute and she's exotic dancer. So that's who she is. And I think that's wrong, but that's neither here nor there. But well, she did what she did, so people are gonna have their opinions. However, Tim texted this girl, this woman, and told her when Andre got out of her car, he texted her, "Move." And once she took off in the car, gunshot started. Tim orchestrated it. He came in overnight, from California into, St. Louis overnight, stayed in a hotel, met with Terica, and they had sex and talked over the plans. And there's a lot of texts going on. Tim is not the smartest tool in the shed. So, of course, he's going to be convicted. Everything is going according to plan, everybody. He's going to jail. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. He's going to jail. He did it. Okay? And the fact that he had an armed robbery, I would be surprised if it doesn't come into evidence because, it shows the length that he would go, to get money. He used a gun and held people at gunpoint to rob them. Why shouldn't we think he didn't do this? Why shouldn't we think he didn't steal from his mama? He didn't have her mama robbed. That's what he does, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I honestly think all of this information is going to lead to him being convicted for life without parole. Oh, my chair, everything is going wrong because I just decided to jump on here, so make fun of it. But anyway, what else did he say that was interesting? He also said that about Tim. What did they say? What did he else say? Tim wants to proclaim that Hill did this all on his own, which makes no sense because Hill has no connection to Andre whatsoever. He was looking for Tim. That's evident in the texts between him and Hill and Terica, the prostitute, exotic dancer. Miss Robbie, she wasn't in court today. I don't know. You can go over to Vale and see. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I know it's Zale or Vale, but I'm so the randomness of Vale. It is Vale. Okay. So what else? I don't want to keep you guys. I just want to let you know that the randomness of Veil covering the Tim Norman's trial for its duration. He's now in St. Louis, so he's going to have the day to day and the what to what and the how to how and the wins to wins. He is very good at what he does. I want to congratulate him for his channel. I watch his channel all the time. But yeah, spiritually, this is a mess, and it's showing, it's a sign of how we are living our lives today. People are going to any length to get status, to get fame, to get power. In the last days, this is very indicative of what is in the Bible and what the end results are going to look like. As a child, everybody was always talking about the end time, and I never thought it was the end time. But here, and you look at the weather, you look at, the flooding, and you think of, the hurricanes, all the rough weather. I think we were pretty good over this summer, as far as not having a lot of weather issues. But it's going to get worse, people. It's not going to get better. And now I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and put that out there, but that's the reality. You have to wake people up with the truth, or they're going to fall asleep in destruction. At a time where we most need Jesus Christ, we are falling asleep and moving away from. So, yeah, so that's where you can go for all the nitpicky little things. But that was the main thing that happened today. The opening arguments, they were talking about, the prosecution was talking about the 5 steps that Tim took. You might want to get over there and hear that from Veil. I keep wanting to mix him up with with the Love and Hip Hop Zell, the gay one, the bisexual one with, that's always in somebody's business. Yeah. Yeah, I watch those things. I feel guilty now. But it keeps me in tune on what is happening in our society, today. And it's more evidence that things are really exploding in a bad way, all over the world. So with that, I'm going to close out. Yes, Tim had court today. Yes, Tim is looking very bad and rough, and the stress is taking a toll. Yes, he was on the scene. Yes, he's going to be convicted. Yes, the armed robbery is going to come in. Yes, everybody has pleaded guilty except Tim, because he has the most to lose. What else? Prosecution seemed like they own the money. The evidence is overwhelming, and the defense is very desperate. So I'll keep you guys tuned as things come out on social media, and also through Google and all of that. And kind of explain everything. Jury process is always tedious and boring, so I ain't gonna get into all of that. Opening arguments were interesting, and I would let Veil tell you that. So go over there and talk to Veil. Okay, with that, I'm gonna close out. Thank you for coming in, and like, share, and subscribe to Spirit Juice No Additives. I'm Edward. I'll see you later.